Namaskar and a very good morning. Please switch on your cameras. So we'll be officially starting our next 21-day challenge starting from tomorrow. Okay, starting our next 21-day challenge starting from tomorrow. We looked at the last week as a transition week where we added two or three additional things in order to further boost your preparation. So we'll retain this new additions and then we'll expand the scope of what we have to do across the next 21 days. And no matter where you are, it is important that you complete your entire syllabus, whether it's one group or both groups, you complete your entire syllabus. As of March 31st, whatever is completed is what you have to attempt. Let's say you complete three papers, you are going to write one group. You complete six papers, you are going to write both groups. You complete four papers, still it will be one group, right? So in April, let us not risk anything. Let us not venture into danger zones where you're trying to finish one more group at the expense of the other group. This is one. The only exception to this could be postponement by more than 2 weeks. Now, there is a high likely chance that exams are going to get postponed because of the election. There is a high likely chance. Official notification is not out, but it's there. If it's less than 2 weeks, we're not going to change the plans too much. Just because you have 2 more weeks, one group is not going to convert into two groups automatically. Because when you have 3 months, nothing is done. In just 2 weeks, let's not take random decisions. But having said that, in a particular case where somebody would have done four papers, five papers, then this 1 week or 2 weeks becomes very precious. Okay. So without even depending on that, the idea is to complete entire syllabus by March 31st. This is what we're looking at. And off late, especially in the last 1 week, I got a good amount of opportunity to spend more time with our offline students in multiple contexts. Now, when I interacted with them, without talking about anyone in specific, most of the students, I would say all the students have some amount of, I would say internal gaps or certain personality traits which are kind of affecting them, kind of affecting their preparation. Today, I'm explaining one such topic which you all should be aware of, which you should definitely know, which will help you to probably, fix those internal issues faster. Okay. What I'll do is I'll first take you through a general article and then I'll explain it in my style. So this is called self-sabotaging. So the problem which I'm talking about is called self-sabotaging. So let us pick up an article from internet and then we'll kind of dwell deep into this. Are you able to see the screen? Is the screen visible? Okay. All right. I'll tell you why I'm talking about this. Uh, I've seen some of you, constantly thinking in a particular way, which will significantly alter your chances of clearing the exam. This is not because of your inability to complete the syllabus or inability to complete revise things, but you're thinking in a particular way. The thinking process, overthinking is one thing, but then this is dangerous thinking. Overthinking and useless thinking is one thing, but this is dangerous thinking because uh, instead of adding something, it is collapsing your internal ability and you're not even realizing it. When you're not realizing it, again, online, I don't know how people think, but offline, when I have back and forth conversations, now I'm very sure. Generally, I know that this kind of happens, but I'm very sure that it's happening to a lot of students in this CA ecosystem also. So let's understand what it is, and then I'll dwell deeper. First one, to begin with, the concept of self-sabotage is all about intentional action that undermines people's progress and prevents them from accomplishing their goals. Self-sabotage occurs when people hinder their own success. So it's like a self goal. You are supposed to score a goal in the opposition, but then you are scoring a goal in your own goal post. So it's like it's the exact opposite of success. Instead of driving yourself towards success, you're actually driving yourself towards failure by thinking in a particular way. Now, while it seems surprising that some people undermine their own good intentions and long-term goals, when people take these destructive steps, their harmful behavior can negatively impact nearly every part of their lives, including their relationship and career. Now, this is very important, guys. People with this type of thinking believe and assume that it's about the other person. It's about the difficulty of the exam, complexity of the job. So people constantly think it is because of the other side. The reality is this is being done internally. Your relation is in a particular way because of you. Your career is in a particular way because of you, not no one else. So if you do not understand it, if you do not accept that, if you do not take that into cognizance, you'll never be able to correct this. So that is the reason why it is important that we kind of discuss this. So this article discusses why people engage in self-sabotage and provide some examples. Okay, this will give you clarity. Now, what causes self-sabotage? So people thwart their progress for a variety of reasons. They may consciously or unconsciously commit acts of self-sabotage. This causes range from childhood issues. Why does this happen? Childhood issues, prior relationship effects, and low self-esteem, and coping problems to problems with cognitive dissonance. So these are some of the issues. Like childhood trauma could be a reason. One bad relation, poor relation could be a reason. The relation could be anything, but people kind of do it unknowingly. Now, why do people do this? Now, this is the reason why they do. So it serves as a coping mechanism that people use to deal with stressful situations and past traumas. Uh, you, See, sympathy is a coping mechanism. Like you failed in the exam, you're feeling stressed about it, you're feeling hurt about it, you're not able to process this, then you would need, a reason to adjust to this. Then comes the sympathy game. Like, okay, I tried very hard, ICI failed, poor CA students. So this is a very sympathetic way, right? Now, this is what you want to like to listen after failing. It's not you did not fail because of you failed because of X, Y, Z, whatever it is. So that is a very convenient reason. That becomes a very convenient reason for you to accept your failure or become sympathetic about it. So that way, temporarily, it looks like it is solving something. It looks like it is solving something, but it kind of limits a person's ability to successfully move forward in a healthy way. So this, I keep using the term resistance multiple times, and it includes this. Like this is what I kind of mean. And the more and more time I spend on understanding, many of you, all of you have this to an extent or to a large extent, and it is significantly impacting the decision-making process, including how much you trust our process. It's not about your process, the self-sabotaging the way you're progressing. It is affecting the efficiency of our process also. So now I don't have a choice but to attack it and collapse it. Otherwise, our process also won't be efficient because our process works after you take it inside, not externally. Just because you listen, no. Once you have to process it and take it inside. But then you're destroying that with this thinking. That is the reason why I have to address it after. And people who self-sabotage might be aware of their actions. For example, who's overweight and a diet might consciously sabotage their good efforts by eating a whole carton of ice cream. You kind of experience this, right? I'll tell you one more example. You know that syllabus is not getting completed. You know that you don't have time, and that is when you end up wasting more time by watching a series or thinking about something. You know that there is less time, and this is exactly what happens in April. If you're not reasonably ready in the pressure scenario, what you would actually do is you will you know in the quest of finding more time, in the effort of trying to find more time, you're wasting more and more time. So that is the reason why I say your thinking makes you move in a direction which is quite opposite to the goal. Now this is the goal, you'll think like this, you'll think like this. A lot of people, even in this, there's certain people, the reason why they invest and join a coaching system or mentor, anything, any ecosystem where I have to learn something, they join that ecosystem. Instead of putting effort to learn, understand, and accept the process, they start creating these thoughts. Okay, this person do not know anything. I know more. Or this coaching institute wants to exploit me. So, this faculty is not as matured as I am. So these are, various thoughts which will actually uh, create a barrier to learning. Now what happens with this, it makes him believe that his original thought process is right, it makes him believe that her original thought process is right, and so wherever they go with the same outcome is the same failure continues wherever they go, because it's not about the efficiency of the other person, it is about it is because of the way people are thinking in a particular way. Until the internal thought process changes, nothing would happen. So this is one way. And then a person might miss a work deadline. On the surface, it seems he was like running late. But the truth is, he's afraid of failure. Now, only when you submit, only when you do something, will pass or fail. Now, this is the reason why a lot of people don't write exams. When we kind of encourage people to write exams, one excuse or the other excuse, people miss writing the exam. And even while they're writing the exam, they do it here and there. And let's say, today I was not energetic. Today, I wrote only a limited set of syllabus. Now, you don't want to accept the reality. So that way, you kind of create a layer which is not true or which is not relevant. So that way, temporarily you're feeling good about it, but long term, again, it's good, screwed up. Next. One reason could be difficult childhood, like difficult childhood. But I don't kind of bring it in the Indian context because these articles are written in English countries, so they're, yeah, difficult childhood is the reality. But Indian context, most of the cases, I know there are some exceptions. Most of the cases, our parents do everything in their capacity. See, you have to understand the actual situation. Difficult childhood is not having a car or not having some luxury or comfort. That is not difficult childhood. Now, in terms of functionality of a family, in terms of the kind of attachment and love and care which you have to receive from parents and all, it's more about the emotional perspective. So that way, yes, most Indian parents, once they have a kid, they'll do anything in their capacity. Like Indian parents are the best parents in the planet. So that way, I think all of us understand that. Probably if you don't know it yet, you have to meet parents from other countries. With due respect, they kind of operate differently. We kind of operate differently. So that way, difficult childhood should not become one more excuse. Now, when you look at something like this, okay, you'll be like, okay, it is because I had a difficult childhood, I become like this. That is another bullshit excuse. So instead of that, let's kind of focus on what could be the actual reason which might happen. Now, one is difficulty in relationships. Let's say when you're experienced an abusive relationship, when you have probably went through a relationship in any zone. See, it could be any relation. It need not be a romantic relation as such. Any given relation where you're kind of abused or where you're not respected or where your self-esteem got hit, where your core got diluted, where you're no longer able to believe yourself and all of that. So that could be one reason why you're not able to come out of this. You were like this, it totally went down, and from there you can't come out. So that is one reason why it might be affecting you. And this one, the low self-esteem and cognitive dissonance, these are the top two reasons. When I say low self-esteem, people with a negative self-image and self-esteem are especially. This is something which I'm talking about. This is something which I'm clearly evident. Now, why is this happening? Now, if you ask me why are people experiencing this, or why are going through low or negative self-esteem? Because one, you're attaching your esteem to your mark sheet. One is you're attaching your self-esteem to your mark sheet. The reason is because you built nothing else in life. Like, if you have to introduce yourself, even when I go to MCS or residential program anywhere all across India, when I ask someone to introduce myself, the introduction is largely linked to CA. I'm a foundation student. I cleared inter. I cleared final one group, whatever. Except this, you don't have anything else. You did not build anything else in life, which is valuable enough to talk about. So you're constantly you only have one thing to talk about. So then when you have only one thing to talk about, your entire esteem, kind of depends on the mark sheet. So that is dangerous. Even if you clear also, you'll be over proud. I am a CA. I am a CA. That is also not right. So the uh, positive side or negative side, as I said yesterday or day before, we have to focus on neutrality, not a positive affinity or negative affinity. So here, especially your self-esteem is getting a hit, and then you're adding layers and layers of thinking. So what is happening is you kind of behave in a particular way. Let's say when I ask, this is interesting, which I constantly notice. When I ask people to do certain targets, like they even after achieving the targets, uh, they still feel, you know, they still feel in a particular way that the target is not done properly. They should have done something else. Now, if you understand, try to understand why this is happening. They want certain beliefs to stay. One belief is I cannot study for more than 6 hours. I cannot, remember things for more than 2 days. I cannot I cannot remember what I studied. So these are certain beliefs which will help them, maintain that level of experience without trying to push forward or without trying to go to the next level. So that being the reason, what normally or what commonly happen is they try to find out, see, they believe that, okay, no matter how much I study, I am not able to clear. Let's say this is my belief. No matter how much I study, I'm not able to clear. Now, on a given day, even if they're made to study for 10 hours, they'll be trying to find it, they'll be unknowingly trying to find out a reason that I studied for 10 hours, but I'm not able to solve this problem. Probably they solved many other problems. Probably they remember 70%, probably they forgot only 30%. Still, they only look at the 30% and try to attach it to it. They focus on what is not happening and what is happening. That way, they want to believe the fundamental belief that they're not going to clear, and this happens at an unconscious level. That's the reason why it becomes more dangerous. The reason why, see, when I keep talking about offline in a way, it's not about the facility per se, guys. It's not about the aloofness per se. Now, this micro level nuances, this micro level disturbances, requires a two-way conversation, requires an understanding of you in different contexts. Now, that is when will be able to understand, because it's not evident for you also. It is not clear in your mind also, because you're doing it unconsciously. When you're doing something consciously, that's easy, but unconscious level, it's very hard. And until you come out of that, there's nothing much you can do. It's not about this exam. Any exam you pick up, anything valuable you pick up, things will go for a toss. And these are the set of people whom certain ecosystems target. Let's say uh, a less difficult course like ACCA. Now, what they do is they kind of dilute the goal, and then they do something, and they believe that they achieved this, and then they believe that CA is not suitable. This is what suited me. What suited you? Just it's like going to BCom and going to graduation and saying that this suited me. That is another bullshit mechanism of coping up with this. So the danger scenario is, next step, you don't try to achieve this goal. You'll dilute the goals. You'll reduce the goals. You'll dilute the goals and try to get self satisfaction or validation based on a diluted goal. Let's say for many women, unfortunately, marrying a child icon becomes the goal from becoming a child. Many, I have seen this. Uh, you know, at some point of time, they're like, they suddenly twist it. It happens, guys. Because see, I've seen friends in the close circle. mm, they're not that kind of people where they have to depend or something like that. But suddenly, let's say when 27, 28, when they hit that number, that age, when the pressure on them to get married in the from the families, especially for girls, like it's like yes, we talk about equality, but now the game is still not equal. I have to be honest about it. The platform is not yet equal, especially for the marriage. Guys, unfortunately, have an advantage in terms of choosing their partner, or even in terms of the family support, especially in the southern part, northern part, probably slightly better depending on the family. But again, it's a debatable topic for a different day. But in terms of that, this particular problem, if you're not fixing it, you might be forced to take the decisions. Okay, I'm not able to do it. Let me marry. And it happens in civil service also. Now, we kind of predominantly talk about this. People go to Delhi for two reasons. Either become an IAS officer, plan B is marry an IAS officer. Because in the plan of preparation, you'll be finding one and all of that. So in that perspective, in that dimension, the reason why they do this is they unknowingly change the goal, removing the original goal, and they attach this validation that they'll derive validation that, okay, I married a C, I'm someone special because a CA married me. So this is going to be disastrous for your long-term career, because constantly, now these are the set of people who derive identity from an Instagram reel. Now you don't do anything in real life. You cannot achieve something tangible. Now you kind of want to get that identity, kind of want to build that social connection or probably image through stupid little and useless things where you don't have to do anything. Let's say clearing exam is a tough thing, or getting ready is also tough, but on a scale of clearing exam like CA or getting ready or probably going to a place and taking a photograph and then posting it somewhere. Now, again, nothing wrong with this. I'm saying when you have to compare with this, but when you end up doing this is bullshit. Now there are some people let's say we talk about influencers, their profession is that. Now they don't do it in a silly way. They do it in a very, very serious manner where there is a tangible outcome about each and every post and each and every video. So you need to understand that that's their profession. That's their profession. It's like somebody randomly trying to wear a stethoscope and then posing and posting it to get a few views or likes. It looks funny, right? Similarly, when you're not a hardcore influencer where you don't have business which is linked to Instagram, if you're there on Instagram, you're like that random guy standing beside a statue trying to click where you're not in the context. No, it's as funny as that. So you need to understand. Doing that is not the problem. Doing only that is a problem. So, and the worst part is you believe this is a substitute to this. People believe this is a substitute to this. So please do understand this particular problem. If it's low self-esteem, try to understand why you are linking that to the result or outcome. Have a serious conversation or take someone's help and fix this. First problem you have to fix is low self-esteem. The second thing is cognitive dissonance. People showing this behavior struggle with cognitive dissonance or the mental discomfort. Yeah, this is the classic case, guys. What is cognitive dissonance? You got a wake up call at 5:03 today. You got a wake up call at 5:03. You want to wake up, but your brain is pulling out. Our body is pulling you back onto the bed with extreme magnetism. So you want to wake up. Your thoughts are moving you to wake up. Your actions are pulling you back to the bed. Even right now, you can listen to me in a particular way. You can pay complete attention, or you're like, okay, I'm there. Let me, slightly sleep. Let me slightly listen. So there is no congruence in between your thoughts and actions. You don't have consistency between your beliefs and actions. This is one. And second, I'll tell you the most important example. You're studying, you're doing something, you're moving in the preparation, but you don't believe that you're actually going to clear. You still have a gap. You're like, okay, let me see. If you break it down, you're still not able to trust the process. You're still not able to believe yourself. The gap continues until the last minute. What happens? You don't write the exam to clear. You write the exam in a particular way, and then come out and say to yourself that even if I prepare well, this is the outcome. And what's even worse is some people come out with this beautiful explanation. But did not study well, I got more marks. When I studied well, when I put in more effort, my marks reduced. So this is exactly how your brain processes things. Now, one more example. Let's say you're marrying someone great, but you come from a dysfunctional family. Your dad left, your mother went from one relation to other. You therefore don't believe in a stable marriage, but you're continuing to plan the wedding and sending invitation. So this is a classic example. The same. You don't believe that you're going to clear, but then you're, one more example, like you know that coaching is not useful. You know that live classes are not helping any longer, but you keep, paying more and more subscriptions to multiple classes. You know that motivational videos are bullshit. You know that they're not going to work, but you keep watching them a number of times trying to find something. You know that there is no scope for you in a particular relation. You know that the other person is not going to entertain you at any point of time. Still, you keep putting in efforts just for the heck of it. You know that you're not going to crack a particular target, but you kind of keep doing certain things in a way that you end up missing it, but it looks and feels like you're putting in that effort. So all of this, again, fundamentally, your ability to realize and understand the truth, and most importantly, your ability to accept the truth would change a lot of things. And one more example, you're about to land a great client and earn more money than before, rather than what it takes to propel it forward. You hold because you don't feel worthy. This is another classic case. Now, again, this is what is going to happen. You are about to, get into the most productive months in your life, and then you believe that you can't do it, you don't have it in you, and all of that. So this is exactly, so you get drunk the night before the client meeting and miss it entirely. This is what happens. Like a lot of people, when I say a mom session tomorrow is very important. The kind of, okay, I'm not a 5 o'clock person or whatever. And in order to prove that you're not a morning person, you sleep late. This is the only reason why people don't wake up. This is the only reason why people say that mom is not working for me, because you're sleeping at 12 o'clock, trying to prove that mom won't work for you. So this is exactly what we had to understand about self-sabotage. There is more to the story. There is something called self-loathing also. Before I proceed forward, without even getting into the details, how many of you find this relatable? How many of you find this relatable in one way or the other? How many of you find this behavior relatable in one way or the other? Please type relatable. If you have experienced this in any dimension, I'm not going to ask anything. It's just for you to understand, because I'm trying to tell you that you have to start accepting this. It's not about having all of this or not. Have the ability to accept. How many of you find it relatable? Now, this is the first and foremost important thing. This is the first and foremost important thing which you have to fix in the mindset level, because this is so dangerous that no matter what we keep building on, it reduces the efficiency of that technique, right? Now, what I want to do, there are two ways of solving it. If you're living somewhere or whatever, you can always meet a psychologist or psychiatrist to believe that. Or if you want me to solve, there is only one way in which I can solve it. You have to be brutally honest. Type a message and send it to my number directly. Okay. If you want me to help, like most of you have it still, not the official number, you can send it to me. It's my personal number. Only I have access to this. Think through, take time, help me understand it in a detailed manner. Now, you choose one of the things. You share it or you don't. You want to get it resolved with someone, but share 100% with that person, anyone. It's not about the other person. It's about you, how much truthful you are, how much honest you are. Offline people, you can always request for a direct conversation. We can have a conversation at any point of time. For students who are online, if you still want us to do something about it, so share it in a detailed manner, the way we can understand, or even a voice note can also help. If we prefer texting because it's clear, you can think far more clearly. Then probably I'll try to have a conversation with you based on that. Okay, this is the first and foremost thing which you have to solve. If you're not solving this, no matter what you build on the top, collapses. It's very, very, very important. Okay. Now with this particular day, let's look at the transition part. We're kind of going to the transition. From tomorrow onwards, we're officially charging the next 21-day challenge. So in this 21-day challenge, we're planning to complete the remaining subjects. Now, if you have 4 subjects, probably we'll have only 5 days to complete. If you have 3 subjects, we'll have 1 week each. If you have 2 subjects, depending on where you are, what you're doing, and all of that, moving forward. Okay. So at any point of time, in terms of the schedule, at any point of time, you should focus on group of the month, subject of the week, chapters for the day. At any point of time, things should be there in your mind. It's not that somebody says, somebody comes, all of that is done. I'm making you independent. The dependence was on during the last 21-day challenge. Now the game is towards independence because you're going to walk into the examination hall alone. Please understand. I'm trying to bring everything into the brain. So that target should be very, very clear. Never ever, uh, uh, it's not a stage where you still keep thinking of what should I do today. Now that's a very bullshit space to operate from. So try to level up and try to do things what are working. Let's say morning 5 o'clock, our first session. If it's helping you to, if you revise everything in the right way, try to do it. Today we had a session, so I'm trying to optimize this. Should we have a session like this, or should we have a 50-minute revision part? So. Anurag, not here. Text to me. Here I don't even see. I don't. It can't be stored. Text to the WhatsApp. Now the 50-minute session where you have to revise things, or a discussion on something deep like this. I'll have to elaborate. See, the question is not this or this. If this happens, 2 3 marks should improve. Whatever improves the score is what I do. For me, it's not about me talking, and it's not about you studying. What would change? Sometimes this is important. Sometimes that is important. That is exactly how we are figuring out things. That is the reason why this time I'm not sticking to the consistent 10, 20, 10, 10 minutes. So the most important thing is PDF. The most important thing is PDF. And the next important thing is current day skimming, which anyways I believe you're doing whenever you're studying. Current day skimming and PDF becomes the most important things. The rest of the plans, yes, you can slightly alter that here and there. So all those who are going through this issue, probably think through clearly and text me. Think through clearly and text me. Okay, this is exactly what it is. And the next part, see, time and again I'm telling you, whatever we can do for you in the online context that is already being done. Over and above, I'm telling you very clearly, over and above, if a particular problem is not being solved, no matter how many times you text us about the same problem, I cannot solve it. Come down. Like it's like you're sending the doctor on a text on WhatsApp. I'm saying I can't solve it beyond it. Come down, we'll fix it. Now, the same level of attention cannot happen. There is no possibility. Now, if the process is fixing certain things, for some of it is very clear. For some of it is very clear, right? You're able to work. That is getting sorted, right? So the whole point is you're able to study seamlessly for 10 hours, 12 hours, naturally happening with quantity and quality. Great, fantastic. If you're not able to do it, it's not because of us, it's because of you. Because whatever bullshit has built over the last 10 years, it probably it can't be fixed with 1 hour conversation. It would need further investigation and it would need further details. That is what you have to understand. Or reduce the scope. Now you can't create a solution which is not practically feasible. Now this conversation will solve a lot of issues for a lot of problems. Now if it's too deep rooted, like you go with some pain, hand pain, okay, regular checking, some prescription solved, did not get resolved, did not get resolved. What's the next step? Go and get an X-ray. Did not get resolved. What's the next step? MRI scan. Now it's not the efficiency of the doctor; it's the depth of the problem. Now, when you realize that there is an underlying problem which is bothering you since the last 4 years, 5 years, if you're not taking it serious enough, if you're not caring about your problem, nobody cares. Because experts don't solve cheap and superficial problems. The problem has to be deep. The problem has to be complex. And the problem has to be important for you. If it's not important, if you want to somehow navigate and glide through life in a particular way, that's totally fine. Now, this is the last, I would say, uh, opportunity for you to fix this problem and clear this. Otherwise, they'll happen independently. You'll have to fix the problem separately and clear the attempt separately. So look at anything with a sense of seriousness. What I'm asking all of you, whether you are online or offline, these are not silly problems to just float around. Serious, goddamn serious problems which can alter the direction of your life. Or this is the important, most important problem. So approach it with a sense of seriousness. Approach it with a sense of urgency. Like, okay, this is happening. Self-sabotage, this is happening. I have to solve it. Okay, I don't know capital budgeting. You solve it in a particular way, right? You don't advance capital budgeting. You kind of put in 10 hours. You put in 10 hours. I don't know consolidated financial statements. I don't know India's 115. You put in 10 to 12 hours. Or put the 10 to 12 hours in trying to solve, understand. First, understand what self-sabotage is. Put more effort. Watch videos, watch links. Put that effort. It's not about identifying the problem. What is it you're doing? Go definitely meet an expert. Definitely meet an expert. It is important. If you're not able to resolve it, how can you survive with this? When you realize it is a serious problem, how can you walk with a broken leg is what I'm talking about. You can't work with a fractured mind. Okay, you have to fix it, right? So this is one part of it. The rest of it has to go very intense. When you are supposed to study for 9 hours, if you're not studying for 9 hours, it's a red flag. When you're supposed to complete 3 chapters, if you're not completing 3 chapters, it's a red flag. This is a serious problem. They have to happen now. After the 21-day challenge, they have to happen. If they're not happening, you're in serious trouble. Because what would not happen today gets reflected in the main exam. There's nothing else which will change suddenly on the day of the exam. You have to understand that. Reasonable level of optimism is fine, but criticality in terms of the specific problems is what I wanted to clearly think of. Okay, I hope the context of this conversation is understood clearly. Today, once again, go and try this approach, current day skimming, where you try to cover higher weightage topics, 20 plus marks until 5 o'clock in the evening, and 6 to 9, you revise, write, practice questions of the same topics, and then submit your day. Okay, and while doing any study session, current day skimming is important. Like, let's say I'll complete this chapter called Startup Finance. Small chapter, 90 minutes, still study it for 10 minutes. Anything you do, go through the current day skimming. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted you to have today. So rest of you can proceed forward with your study sessions or the morning study session. I think Twinkle wanted to discuss something. Twinkle, you can stay. Rest of you can start preparing. Yes, Twinkle.